On the Medical Watch now, alcohol is as bad as smoking when it comes to causing cancer. That's the bold statement from the U.S. Surgeon General, who's recommending warning labels on alcoholic beverages. Dr. Vivek Murthy's report cites studies linking alcoholic beverages to at least 7 malignancies, including breast cancer. Joining me now to sort out what this means for us is Dr. Brian Helfand, who is an oncologist with Endeavor Health. Thank you for being here. A lot of people woke up and read this and said, oh my gosh. So for years, doctor, we've heard 2 glasses of wine is good for the heart. There are studies showing some benefit from beer. This all seems like a reversal. How long have studies been raising the red flag about alcohol?
So at face value, alcohol is still a toxin. And so I'm always surprised when we find that there are any associations with benefits. And there have been many studies that have suggested a positive association, meaning if you consume mild or moderate levels of alcohol, that it may be good for the heart. Now, many of those have been true association studies, and most of that, as a non-heart doctor, to my understanding, have actually been reversed in terms of their stance that actually alcohol does increase the risk of even heart disease. But I think the finding more associated with cancers is really not that surprising, because at face value, again, we're introducing a toxin into our bodies, and those toxins do damage to our cells, to the DNA that we're made up of, and they can induce such cancers. And it has been suggested by many population-based studies historically that even things like breast cancer are at increased risk if you do consume moderate amounts of alcohol, defined really as more than 2 drinks a day.
So for people who overindulge during the holidays, how much should they be stressing right now? Is this episodic or is this chronic use of alcohol we're talking about?
Well, I think it's very individual based, and binge drinking, which typically occurs around many holidays, happens frequently because there are so many parties, gatherings, emotions that are really associated with this. And should we be really concerned about the amounts of alcohol that we're drinking? I think that there should be some caution there. And again, I don't think that now that we should be Monday morning quarterback and judging how much we drank or the behaviors that we've indulged in. On the other hand, this may be an opportunity to kind of change practices to drink in more a responsible way, understanding that there really is no defined safe limit to alcohol consumption, but moderation, limiting the amount, certainly the more we can be mild drinkers, less than 1 drink a day or certainly a week, is certainly preferable. And the more we can live up to that ideal, certainly the safer that may be in terms of cancer risk, cancer prevention.
Since alcohol is so much a part of so many people's lives, I'm sure they're not happy, obviously, about this. When the warnings first arose regarding cigarettes, I think people didn't necessarily believe it. Then that cancer connection became so clear. Do you see that happening with alcohol?
I think the information that we obtain through large studies, and we have these, amazing abilities now that we've accumulated data sets for many, many years, and we can analyze it. And the more information that we can get from that really convinces us of the harms that a lot of what we consider routine behaviors and the harm that they have caused. So I think that we are learning. I do think that we will potentially see that, severe warnings and potentially even taxes on alcohol as we move forward. On the other hand I still believe you live in moderation. Don't overindulge if at all possible.
You talk about alcohol being a toxin. People know if they overindulge, it's a headache, it's pain in the stomach. What is the mechanism, though, where alcohol then eventually could promote cancer growth?
So it can induce cancer by several different causes. Number one is it's a toxin in the liver in particular. So the way that it's processed, it is turned into acetaldehyde, so a fixative by your liver, and that actually causes direct damage to a lot of that liver cells. In itself, the liver also functions to get rid of a lot of hormones and regulate a lot of hormones, including estrogens. And so because the liver is damaged, it doesn't really get rid of a lot of those excess estrogens, and that can induce the breast cancer and other hormone-related cancers. And then also we have to know that alcohol itself has a lot of poisons in it as well. Phytoestrogens also associated with, hormone-associated cancers. So by the direct toxicity of the alcohol and its damage to the cells of the liver and other cells in the body, whether it's the mouth, the colorectal system, it can cause a lot of these cancers directly or indirectly through a lot of the other effects that it has.
Well, that certainly is a great warning as we head into the new year. Doctor, thank you so much for being here. For those of you at home, it is worth noting that only Congress can mandate new warning labels like the ones Dr. Murthy is recommending. It's not clear whether the incoming administration would support the change. You can check out northshore.org for more information from Dr. Helfand. Thank you so much for joining us. It really was very educational.